Mick right with you through until 9. Good to have you on board. It is that time of the month again, the second Friday, and we are on the Zoom call this morning with our great friend, our resident naturopath and nutritionist, Kelli Kieselbach is joining us. Kelli, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm going really, really well, thanks. It's always good to see your smiling face and have a bit of a chat as well. Big topic this morning. This one's probably way more common than what we would realise, I think. And so we wanted to look this morning at, now again, this is a bit of a different one, but, you know, the links between food and anxiety and depression and things like that. So I thought we'd jump straight into it. And the first question really this morning, is there a link between what we eat and those two conditions, anxiety and depression?
Absolutely, 100%. So there's a huge amount of research now looking at diet and nutrition and how that impacts our mental health. And we know that people are at a greater risk of depression if they're eating a typical Western diet or a SAD diet, so a standard Australian diet. And part of the reason for that is that we're having more of a lack of essential nutrients that help support our mental health, but also it's highly inflammatory, which is linked to both depression and anxiety. So, and when I say Western diet, it's that high processed, high refined grains, sugars, too much meat, not enough vegetables, that type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Now, what are some of the ways that our diet can drive that, the anxiety and depression, or even make it worse? You mentioned a few foods groups there before.
Yeah, so when we look at the physiology of these conditions, so the underlying mechanisms that can cause them, one, inflammation. So as I just said, you know, if we're eating a diet that's high in inflammatory foods and not enough anti-inflammatory foods, then we get more of that inflammation in the brain. And there's a very strong link with inflammation now and depression, anxiety. Major depression is now considered an inflammatory disorder. And nutrient deficiencies. So all the brain chemicals like serotonin and dopamine, which support our mood and our thinking, these are all built off the nutrients that come into our diet. So the nutrients are the building blocks for these chemicals. We don't have the building blocks, we can't produce them. And then blood sugar dysregulation. So blood sugar ups and downs can cause an impact. Gut health is a huge one. So lots of research now into the bacteria and also just the environment of the gut. So our bacteria actually produce serotonin for us and other brain chemicals as well. So lots of different aspects there that relate to our food and nutrition that can drive those symptoms.
Absolutely. So, I mean, we talked about inflammatory foods. So what types of foods or diet approaches can we, can we go after that can help alleviate anxiety and depression?
Yeah, so Mediterranean diet. So some people have probably heard of that one. That and a whole food diet. So sticking to less processed, more whole foods, and an increase in fruits and vegetables has been shown to reduce the risk of depression and anxiety. And for those who aren't familiar with what a Mediterranean diet looks like, it's lower in meat and higher in fruits and vegetables, whole grains, oily fish, nuts and seeds, lots of whole foods, not so many store-bought things as well. And yeah, cutting out the processed foods. There are some specific foods that have been studied. So kiwi fruit is one, but probably because it's very high in vitamin C, but it also has some serotonin content as well. And green tea, which contains L-theanine, which helps keep us calm and relaxed. So great in anxiety. And turmeric is another one. So adding turmeric into the diet. We also use turmeric as a supplement as well in higher doses for more severe cases. And there's been lots of studies around turmeric and mood as well, which have been positive. So there's just a few there.
That is cool. So, I mean, the good old kiwi fruit, who would have known?
Oh, kiwi fruit is so good. So good.
And like you say, jam-packed full of vitamin C. It's one of those, it's almost like one of those sleeper fruits, isn't it? If you're not really aware of it, I guess we're more attuned to things like, the good old oranges and different things like that. Everybody says, have an orange or, whatever.
Yeah.
But the kiwi fruit
More
is a real
vitamin
sleeper.
C than oranges. Kiwi have more vitamin C than oranges.
Wow.
And they're also a fantastic food for the gut. So you're kind of addressing things from multiple levels, multiple different aspects there.
Oh, there you go, guys. This morning, get out there and get some extra kiwi fruits into you. That is for sure. Now, when should people visit? This is what you are, of course. You are a nutritionist and a naturopath. So when should people visit people like yourself?
Yeah, I think anytime is the
Yes.
simple answer. Because as I said, nutrition forms the basic, building blocks. So, checking in and just seeing if there's anything you can do to further support your mood is great. But there are some specific scenarios when nutrition and naturopathy can be hugely helpful.
Mm-hmm.
So one is, when we're depressed, very anxious, very stressed, we tend to not make the healthiest of food choices. So this can be a great time to get some professional help, to get some tools to help you make better choices more often. I think also when mood issues are related for women to their hormones, so if there's cyclical anxiety or perhaps it comes on during perimenopause and menopause, that's a great time to get some support. And when there's mood issues that are associated with gut symptoms as well. So a lot of people with anxiety, depression will also have IBS, or they might find that when they're super stressed, they get reflux, or when they're very anxious, they get diarrhea. Those types of things, definitely go off and get some help and support those areas, because that's a two-way relationship. If we can improve your gut health, we can improve your mood and vice versa. So
Yeah.
just a few little specific scenarios there that might prompt people.
Very, very good. We are chatting with our resident naturopath and nutritionist this morning, Kelli Kieselbach. She is on the line with us. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with Kelli right after this. Stay with us. 21 minutes after 8, it is Rhema Brekky on your Friday morning. Mick Wright with you through until 9 o'clock this morning. Been good to have your company. And, of course, we are back round 2 with our resident naturopath and nutritionist, Kelli Kieselbach. Kelli, good morning to you. And, look, we've got a big one this morning about different foods that affect anxiety and depression in people. And I guess the next thing really to ask you this morning is, now with along the lines of herbal medicines, can herbal medicines be useful to support our mental health?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a number of herbal medicines that have now been studied around depression and anxiety. We already mentioned turmeric, so that can be really useful, probably because of its anti-inflammatory properties. There's also hypericum, or more commonly known as St. John's wort, which has been shown to be effective as some common antidepressants as well. So there really can be quite powerful tools that we can use. And because they, generally speaking, have less side effects, they can be really fantastic. In terms of anxiety, we have what we call anxiolytic herbs. So herbs that calm the nervous system, calm that anxiety. And things like passion flower, lemon balm, withania, ziziphus, lavender, magnolia. So there's quite a few at our disposal, and depending on the presentation as to which we would choose for that particular person. Also, it's really important to mention that people don't self-prescribe as well.
Mm-hmm.
You need to check it's not going to be appropriate for everyone, particularly if you're on medications or you have other health conditions. Just get some advice around that. And then I suppose besides the herbal medicine, really, really important that we assess that there's no nutrient deficiency going on, because there's been a huge number of nutrient deficiencies that are linked with anxiety and depression, and lots of common ones like magnesium and vitamin D and iron and B12 and omega-3s. So making sure all those foundational building blocks are there, and then using the herbal medicines as added support can work really, really beautifully.
Yeah, I've heard magnesium. I mean, I've read a whole bunch of studies from a lot of different medical institutes as well over several years, and it's something that I take regularly. I always try and get it from my food sources as well, but I do take a magnesium supplement. It's great stuff. I mean, for one mineral, the amount of things that it does in the body, over 300 odd different metabolic processes. It's quite an amazing thing, isn't it?
It's very amazing. It's very useful, and it's a lot of our nutrients, we're finding it's harder and harder to get enough through the diet. And there's a number of different reasons for this, but it can be really useful as a supportive therapy, but also if someone's deficient, it's going to make the world of difference as well.
Sure.
And anxiety particularly is a symptom of magnesium deficiency, along with insomnia and a whole host of other different things. So it can be quite useful alongside other strategies as well.
Now, speaking of, nutrition, herbal medicine, this is probably one of the things that people want to figure out can it be useful if you're already taking conventional medications?
Yes, it can be very useful. Important caveat is that, you need to work with a practitioner to make sure everything you're taking is still safe. But there have been studies that show that using certain supplements or using certain dietary strategies alongside your medication can help the medication become more effective and you can get a much better result. So there've been a few studies looking at using folate alongside antidepressants and probiotics and omega-3s, and they all show that there's more benefit when you take both together. So definitely can do that. And if you're working with a practitioner, we are trained to always look into the interactions and make sure that everything you're taking is going to be safe and to be able to monitor that as well. Mm-hmm. And this is particularly useful as well because some people don't get a great benefit from antidepressants. They can be medication resistors. And so for those people, it's particularly helpful to have that added support as well. And obviously long-term, we want to be addressing the underlying drivers so that you can get better long-term outcomes. And if it is possible to, reduce your dose of medication or whatever, then that's a bonus.
Yeah. But again, the caveat there to remember, always work with your GP, your health professional, isn't that right?
Yeah, I would actually, if you're using herbals and nutrients, also you work with your GP and then also have your nutritionist or your herbalist who are actually trained in those areas so they know what they can and can't use.
Yep, absolutely. Now, finally, if people want to find you, your website, where can they go and what are some of the things that they could find on there?
Yeah, so my website is kellik.com.au, and that's Kelli with an I. And you can go on there. I have a free ebook on there at the moment. So free download. If you're interested in this topic and you want to delve a little bit deeper or just review the things that we've spoken about today, you're more than welcome to go and download that one. Mm-hmm. And there's some other blog articles and bits and pieces on there, links to my social media, and there's a few posts that I've done around this topic as well. So yeah, go and explore that and see what you come up with.
Now I follow you on Insta as well. So I always look forward to seeing that pop up in my Insta feed, different things that you're posting on there. They're great little reads too. So get onto that one.
Good.
Kelli K, so it's Kelli and then another K. Kellik.com.au is the website. Jump on there. You can peruse that at your leisure. Lots of great things on there. And as always, Kelli, so good to have you on this morning. We'll be hanging out again next month with another great health topic. So have yourself a fantastic weekend.
Excellent. Thank you. You too.
You hold the line there. I'll get back to you very, very shortly. Kelli K there, our resident naturopath and nutritionist. More music on the way as we head on up towards the 8:30 news.